What about any hurdles for investors coming here to the U.S.? Are there some obvious ones that managers here should be aware of?
I mean, I think the good news is there's really no hurdle. I mean, no one kind of says, "Oh, I don't want to go to the U.S." For X, Y, Z. I mean, we all think of taxes or FIRPTA. No investor says, "I'm not going to the U.S. because of taxes or FIRPTA." It's there. They account for it. Maybe they go high in the risk spectrum to counter that. But no one really goes and says, "Well, I'm not going to the U.S. because they have taxes." I mean, Eric, I can't think of a reason why investor doesn't want to go to the U.S. I mean, maybe I'll think it through more to the rest of the interview. But there's no reason why investor doesn't want to come to the U.S.
Okay. What about like a knowledge gap among Middle Eastern investors? Is that a little bit of a hurdle, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hurdle. I mean, it's in terms of knowledge gap. We spoke about core. I mean, that's I think that's a misconception than a knowledge gap. I mean, it's not the right way to look at the investable U.S. where if you're doing a development that's not core. I think you need to educate them on that. But I think the knowledge gap. I mean, listen, Arya sees 90% of the deals. I mean, Tom has seen everything that gets done. I mean, the tier one investors really have no knowledge gap. They probably know more than the guy who's trying to pitch them a deal. That's the honest, kind of view on that. On the tier two, on the tier three investors, I think the knowledge gap is the same that a lot of the other investors have. You have to walk them through what's the difference between block A and block B in Manhattan. Why is one block better than the other block? It could be foot traffic. Or why Austin and Dallas and Raleigh will make good markets because of the employment growth. There's still a knowledge gap in the secondary cities that they have. So you really have to kind of walk them through why that is. And it's just going back to my previous point about kind of where their plane lands. It is a very crude way to put it, but there's a truth to it. If the preferred carrier of the head of a family office never lands in San Antonio, he's not going to be receptive to invest in San Antonio. You have to sit down with them and tell them, the employment growth that's happening in San Antonio. You have to kind of walk him through what is happening. And I don't know if that's really an information gap. I mean, if I ask any of you to go invest in Middle East, you will want to know what's the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and what's the difference in those markets. Or what's the difference between Jeddah and Riyadh? Or even a smaller market like Yanbu or Jubail. So, I don't know if that's a knowledge gap. I mean, it's our job, it's your job to really kind of, tell them the drivers why this works better, why that works better, and so they better understand the drivers of the deal.